In 2003, inside a UCLA brain scanner, two strangers quietly stopped throwing a man the ball. It was a cartoon game of catch. Stick figures. Nobody touched him. Nothing happened to his body. And the pain regions of his brain lit up anyway, the same ones that fire for a burn. Not a metaphor, not kind of like pain. The same hardware, running the same alarm, which is the real answer to a question you've probably asked at 1 a.m., phone face down. Why does being left on read hurt this much? There's an actual mechanism. Here, it's start with the game, because it's so simple it feels like it couldn't possibly do anything. It's called cyberball. 3 little figures on a screen, standing in a triangle, tossing a ball around. You're the one at the bottom. The other 2, you're told, are real people in other rooms. You'll never see them. You'll never meet them. You just click left or right to throw. For the first minute, it's fine. The ball comes to you, you throw it, it comes back. Then it stops coming back. They throw to each other, again, and you just watch. That's the entire experiment. 2 people you invented in your head playing catch without you. The psychologists running it were Naomi Eisenberger and Matthew Lieberman, using a game designed by Kipling Williams. And what they were really doing was watching the brain in real time while it happened. Here's what they expected. Some mild social discomfort, a little annoyance, maybe nothing measurable at all. Here's what they got. Activity in the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. Say it slowly. It matters. That region has a job, and the job isn't feelings. It's the distress part of physical pain. Pain has 2 halves. Your brain keeps separate, where it's and how much it bothers you. Stub your toe and you know both instantly, the location and the awful part. The location part is one system. The "this is unbearable, fix it now" part is another. The dorsal anterior cingulate is the second one. It's the suffering, not the sensation. And in the scanner, getting left out of a cartoon ball game switched it on. The anterior insula lit up too, the region that tracks how bad your body feels right now. Nausea, breathlessness, that heaviness behind your ribs, that's the insula taking your body's temperature. So a man in a tube, ignored by 2 people who didn't exist, ran the injury circuit. And the more he said it bothered him afterward, the harder those regions had worked. The self-report and the scan agreed. That's what made the finding hard to wave away. Now, the obvious objection, and it's a good one, it was just a stupid ball game. Of course it was. That's precisely the reason the result matters, and not the reason to dismiss it. If the stakes had been real, a job, a marriage, a friend group, you'd expect distress. Instead, the stakes were nothing, and the alarm fired at full volume anyway, which tells you the alarm isn't measuring the stakes, it's measuring one thing: are you connected? Evolution is lazy in a very specific way. It rarely builds new machinery when old machinery will do. Pain already existed. Pain already worked. Pain already grabbed attention and forced a change in behavior. So when social animals needed a signal for "you're being cut off," it borrowed the wiring. That's the whole idea. Exclusion isn't like an injury. It's processed on the injury equipment. If that just reframed something for you, that's exactly what this channel is for. Stick around. Because the study everyone quotes is only the setup. The strange part comes next. Researchers had to check something. Maybe people only hurt because they thought real humans were rejecting them. So they ran it again. This time, they told participants the truth up front, before the game. The other 2 players aren't people. It's a computer script. It's programmed to stop throwing the ball. No deception, no social judgment, nothing to take personally. A piece of software following a rule. It hurt anyway. People reported the same sting, and the same regions did the same work. Read that again. They knew. They were told. It made no difference to the alarm. It's the flinch when a car backfires outside. You know it's a car. Your body doesn't care. The knowing arrives late. The alarm has already gone off and started rearranging your afternoon. Then researchers pushed the idea somewhere genuinely uncomfortable, just to see if anything could shut it off. What if you were excluded by a group you actively despised, people whose approval you'd refuse outright? So they set it up that way. The other players belonged to a group participants found repellent. Rationally, there's no loss there. Being ignored by people you'd never want near you is a favor. It stung anyway. Being frozen out registered as bad even when the people freezing them out were hated. That's the finding that closes the case. The alarm fires before your reasoning ever gets a vote. Your opinion of the group arrives second. Your body has already filed the report. Which is why "I shouldn't care what they think" has never once worked as an instruction. You're arguing with the smoke alarm that goes off because you toasted bread. Reasons don't reach it. Now the part that made headlines in 2010, and I want to be precise about it. If exclusion runs on pain hardware, researchers asked an obvious next question, a slightly reckless-sounding one. What happens if you give people an ordinary over-the-counter pain reliever and then hurt their feelings? So that's what a team led by Nathan DeWall did. 3 weeks, daily doses, daily diaries. Participants wrote down how much their feelings had been hurt each day. Small slights, ordinary ones. The group taking the pain reliever reported their hurt feelings drifting downward over those 3 weeks. The group taking a placebo showed no such drift. Their daily hurt stayed roughly where it started. Then they put people in the scanner and ran that same cartoon ball game on them. The pain reliever group's response to exclusion was blunted, quieter cingulate, quieter insula, measurably less alarm. I'm reporting what the scientists measured. That's all. This isn't something to go and try. It's a finding about mechanism, not a suggestion. These are real drugs with real limits and real harms. Nobody should be dosing themselves through a bad week. That isn't what this result is for. What it's for is this: it's the strongest evidence yet that the overlap is genuinely physical. You can't quiet a metaphor with a pill. You can only quiet a circuit that's actually shared. So the wiring is real, which means the whole thing has to run in both directions. And that's the part almost nobody mentions because it's the good half of the story. If disconnection registers as injury, then reconnection registers as reward. Same system, opposite sign. You felt this and probably never had a name for it. Think about a specific evening. You sent something honest, 2 hours of nothing back. You reread it and it starts looking stupid. You begin drafting the follow-up that undoes it. Your shoulders have crept up near your ears. Then 3 dots appear. Then one completely unremarkable reply. Haha, yeah, no, you're right. And something in your chest physically loosens. Your jaw unlocks. You didn't decide to do that. That's not relief in the poetic sense. That's the reward system reporting the threat is over. The circuits that handle warmth and safety and being wanted quietly coming back online, which explains why the smallest signals land so heavily. A reply, a saved seat, a name remembered. None of that makes sense as information. All of it makes perfect sense as a safety signal. And it explains the reverse. A delay you'd shrug off from a stranger wrecks you from someone close. Your brain isn't measuring what the message says. It's measuring the distance between you and them. So here's the actual answer to that question you asked with your phone face down at 1 a.m. For most of human history, being cut off from your group wasn't a mood. It was a forecast. No group meant no shared food, nobody watching while you slept, no help when you got sick. Exclusion was a survival threat on the order of a wound, so it got wound-grade urgency. That system never got the update. It knows nothing about group chats, read receipts, or airplanes. It knows one thing: distance from the people you count on, and it treats distance as damage. So next time it happens, you get to skip the second argument, the one with yourself. The one where you decide that being this bothered must mean something is wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. You have a working alarm doing precisely what it evolved to do. Knowing that won't switch it off, but it stops you stacking shame on top of the hurt. You can name it out loud. That's the injury circuit talking, not a verdict on my worth. Then do the thing that actually turns it down. One real point of contact, not 10. Text the person who's already safe. Sit near someone. The system wants connection, not more analysis. One scanner, one cartoon ball game being left out isn't like getting hurt. It's the same equipment. If this reframes something for you, subscribe. Next up, why one bad review erases 100 good ones. Your brain's still running very old software. We'll keep reading the manual together. See you next time.